Hi everyone. So today we will see about the different blocks. So I'll detailedly explain about each block today. So yesterday what we have seen is like how we are able to create an agent in Agentforce Studio. So this is the agent which we have created. So I already opened it. So today we will see about different block. What does each block do, and what is the purpose of the block? So let me go through one by one. So prior to going inside each block, first we will understand what is the purpose of each symbols that are present here. So why this pipe symbol is present, and why we have this symbol present here, and why there is a colon present in everywhere, and why an action has been referenced inside the instruction like this, and where in case of here it has been referenced like this. Likewise goes for variable. So variable is like this. So let me go through the documentation. So this is the Salesforce documentation. So it's a provider. So in order to understand the function inside the agent script, we need to understand these symbols. So what does the purpose of these symbol do in the agent script? So for example, considering this symbol, so this is for a logic instruction. So run deterministically every time. Use them for business rules, running actions, setting variables, and conditional branching. So its main purpose is for running the business rule, and it's instruction based. So it's for logic instruction. So whenever you see an instruction, it will be by default present there. If you are manually creating it or typing it, then you need to provide this for instructions. So the second one is the prompt instruction. So this for sure you will use in a lot of places in AgentScript. So this pipe symbol is the prompt instruction. So if you want to provide an instruction in the agent script, then you need to provide this pipe symbol and you need to type the instruction. For example, if I go and I type uh, fetch the details of user information, you can see we got error. Unknown field fetch, missing colon, syntax error, unexpected of user information. So if you didn't provide a pipe symbol before this, then it won't consider it as an instruction. It will be a for normal characteristics which is not allowed in AgentScript. So if you provide a pipe symbol, so you can see the color change, but still you have an error. So you can see there's an error, syntax error. As we already discussed, AgentScript is fully belongs to indentation. So here indentation needs to be correctly provided. If you didn't provide the indentation correctly, a error will pop up and it won't allow you to save. So here similar like Apex, where if the syntax is not correctly provided, will start throwing the error. The same way in the YAML file of AgentScript also we have this functionality, like if you didn't correctly provide the indentation in the required way, then it will throw the error. So if I provide example, so just one space of this will provide indentation, and now it is there's no problem and it got saved. Second is saving. So that's one. So for prompt instruction, just remember a pipe symbol needs to be provided before the prompt. So here they have explained a few details. So let me go through the important one. So property based. So AgentScript is made of collection of properties, each property shown as a key value. So whatever informations you see from each block perspective or each variable or action setting places. So it's a property based. So you will have a key as well as a value present there. You will have a developer name and a value colon. Agent label colon, what is the label of the agent? Description colon, and what is the description of the agent? So here we have block level properties, and inside that we have session level properties. So consider this. So here we have block level properties. So this is a block colon, these are the values present inside. Inside that block we have further label colon value, description colon value, reasoning. Under the reasoning we have instruction colon. Under this we have the logic instructions, and we have further prompt informations, actions, other informations are present here. So just you have if you have a block, so for sure you will have a colon. So these are key value pair. So coming to indentation and formatting. So as we already mentioned, so AgentScript is a white space sensitive, similar like languages like Python, meaning that indentation is used to indicate the structure and relationship between properties. So you can see input and an indent will be provided, an input 1 and input 2. So if you have a block, so then below that block, if you want to create a variable or action or a prompt, you need to provide an indent. After that only you need to create a anything like a variable or a prompt. So if you straight away create along with the same line without providing any white space, then it will throw the error. So that's what white space sensitive. So at least two spaces or one tab they are mentioning. So it's better to have two spaces itself. So however, you must choose one indentation method used consistently throughout the script. All lines at the same nesting level must use the same indentation. Missing spaces and tabs will cause the pausing error. So just provide a correct way. So either if you're going to proceed with two spaces, just do the same process for all the places. Don't want a one tab on place and two tab on other places. That's what they're mentioning. So if I have here, you can see we have this way. So I'll just save with this approach itself. So what if I wrongly provided, I forgot about indentation, then it will throw error as already mentioned. So no need to worry. So if I have correctly provided the indent, or if the indent is not correctly provided, so the error will pop. So coming to here, we have logic instructions. So what does logic instruction means? So we have two types of instructions provided in a block. So basically logic instruction and prompt instruction. So logic instruction is nothing but here we have a conditional block to check the data is present or not. Based on the availability of data, it will further proceed and run the action, or else it won't go inside. So that's what a logic instruction means. So prompt instruction is instead of providing it in the logic way, we can just ask if the ready to book is available, then run this action and fetch the values and store it in this variables. Like that we can provide in a prompt. So this is prompt instruction. So here they are mentioning about multi-line sub-agent instructions. So it's not like I need to provide every time this pipe symbol. So you can provide a single pipe symbol and you can type multiple instruction. this is what multi-line prompt instruction. So what in case I want the instruction prompt instruction inside a logic instruction? That's possible. So if a specific condition is achieved, I want to I want to run a specific prompt, then also we can include the prompt inside that logic instruction. So coming to accessing resources. So we have multiple resource present here. So the four major things to refer. So if I'm going to call an action or I need to refer an action inside an instruction, then an action should be used. Dot the name of the action. So if I want to add subagent, then at subagent should be used. So likewise, if I'm going to refer a variable at variables and at outputs, if I'm after the actions, I have outputs. In the outputs, I want to refer a particular variable value, then I need to use at outputs. So coming to the script, going here, so you can see at variables start is verified. At action start sender email verification code. So if I want to add something else, so if you are going to add a specific action or a variable or anything inside a prompt instruction, you need to provide the curly braces, open and close, and exclamatory mark at variables. It will automatically show like this: variables, variable dot. What are the available variables present? So authentication. So this is the way how you will reference the variables inside the prompt instruction. So here you can see. So this is for prompt instruction. This open curly braces exclamatory should be for referring the variable or action inside a prompt instruction. So where in case of actions you want to set a value to a variable from the output of the specific action, then you need to set at variables dot authentication key. The same way you can do for at outputs dot custom type. So outputs won't show any of the values, so you need to manually type. So we already have this, so it's showing duplicates. So these kind of errors which will be displayed in AgentScript for our better understanding whether the variable is already present or not, or if it is referenced in elsewhere, like that. So you can do this. So this is how we can set a variable, and this is how the input will be set with keywords. So let me show keywords explained in the later part. So just for reference, what are the things we have? You can just understand. So actions, variables, output, and sub-agent reference will be actions. So these are the four actions which we have. Accessing resources. Apart from this, we don't have any other resource of accessing. So coming to run, and to run an action, use the run command. To use the with command to provide inputs. So just make sure if you want to run an action, use run. If you want to set an input, with, and use set command to store output. So run with set. Run an action with input of this value and set the output. Run with this input, set variable value from output. So when referencing a variable from within the prompt text and reasoning instruction, so as already mentioned, so if we are referencing a variable inside the prompt instruction or reasoning instructions, then you need to use this format. So any prompt, if you refer a variable or an action or anything else which mentioned of that, you need to use in this format. Use expressions. As I already mentioned, so logical conditional operators are easy to add in the AgentScript. There's no such restrictions like it should not be used. You can use if else block. You should not use if else if. So that's not possible. Nested if also not possible. So if else block is supported for now. So you can use if condition colon and there should be an action, and else block colon and there should be a specific logic or action or prompt which can be present here. So here you can see they are seeking a variable values greater than or equal to 10, and based on that they are running this action or else it will run on to this action. So arithmetical operations are supported, like we can add value or subtract the value, and we can check greater than or less than not equal to. Those functionalities are supported. So comments to help the human. So if you want to add certain comments, then you can use this instead of the details. I don't want it to be present. Put a colon. And if you have pipe symbol also, it won't consider. If you put a colon, it will consider as a comment. You can see if I have multi-level comment, if I put a commenting, then it will comment all the entire instruction of that multi-line. So use pound symbol to comment the lines. This comment save. So this is the few of the basic things which we need to understand regarding the symbols which we are going to use in day-to-day of AgentScript. So let me go through the AgentScript block. So yesterday itself we have seen the blocks that are present in AgentScript: system config, access variables, language, connection, start agent, sub agent. Under that we have reasoning, instruction, actions, tools. On sub agent we have actions and connected sub agents. So what does the system block do? So system block is mainly for a general instructions for the agent and for the welcome and error message. So if we go to the agent, the top you will have system block, the first one. So let me just close all those blocks. So this system block has an instruction and a messages. So as we already discussed, this system block has a colon. So this is a block key, and under the system key we have these values. Under these we have instruction property for this. This is the value. So like this messages, and these are the messages value. And in the welcome we have this value. So property and value is present. So under error, and what is the error message present? So here, what is the instruction? What is the purpose of this agent? What is the generic instruction you want to provide in the system? You can provide here. And a welcome message, instead of this welcome message I want something else to display, or I want some variable information to be displayed as a welcome message. I can go and I can add a variables or some customer type. facing some okay, yeah. So in case of variables, we have different types. So mutable variables cannot be referenced here. So type customer ID, open the variables. This is also mutable variable. So channel end user language. So now it's not saved. So this is how you can refer a variable in a welcome message or a custom message. Welcome message needs to be displayed dynamically based on user during runtime. Then this is possible through the welcome message informations and error message as well. You can configure. So system block is nothing but a welcome and error message and a general instructions which you can provide. So this welcome message, whatever you provide, it will automatically display. It won't make any changes on the content which you provide in the AgentScript. So coming to the config block. So open the config block. So config block is nothing but a configuration block in AgentScript. So as normally we have a flow or any other tools. So we have a name, API name, and who created it, when it got created. So like that. Here we have few configuration details like what is the template we use and what is the name of the agent and developer name of the agent and what is the description of the agent. So those are the details which we have in the config block. So role and other information are optional. So if you need certain details, you can manually provide the and you can enter those details. For example, I want a company, then you can go paste company colon test company. So here you can see I put double quotes. So whenever you provide a text informations, you need to provide it under double quotes. Then it will allow. You can see there's no error present. If I remove this double quotes and provide in a single quotes, it will throw the error. So what are the other properties present in the config? You can configure those informations in the AgentScript configurations. Let me put access block. Under access block, you will see the default agent user. So the user which has been created during the agent creation, that will be added under this default agent user. So based on this user only, the access will be provided. So there are different contexts present like authenticated user and authenticated user. So how on which user access it will run for an authenticated user and working where in case of authenticated user how it will run. So those we will discuss in later point. So for now, access means the user who has been created as part of the AgentScript will be added into that. So that we can scroll down. Agent access block defines the agent's default user. So the username will be shown here for the default agent user. So we can go to the variable type. So if we see variable type, you can see two type of variables here: mutable and link. And we have visibility and data type description. We scroll a bit down. We didn't assign any value so far in this. Yeah, here we have a value has been defined here. So come to the explanation first. So normal way. So a variable is present in Apex. We will just reference the variable in multiple places, and we will use the variable to store the value and reuse it in other places. So there we have like inside the function you can declare a variable, or inside the different places you can declare a variable whenever you need it. You can create a variable, but here it should be of a global type. So whatever variable you want to refer inside the agent script, everything should be created under this variable block. It's not like I can go on straight away create a variable inside the sub agent. Like that we cannot create. So the purpose of the block itself to create whatever variable you want in the agent script under the variable block itself. It should not be created somewhere else. If you create also, it won't allow. So in case of variables, we have three types. So the variable types. Yes, it's not showing. It's not showing correctly. So there are three types of variables. So mutable variable, linked variable, and system variable. So mostly we use linked variable and mutable variable. So mutable variable is a variable where the value can be updated. Linked variable is something like read-only variable. So a value will be already present, and those values which we are referencing inside the agent script. So you cannot modify the value of that variable. So even if you try to set some value, it won't allow. So for example, here I have contact ID linked string. If I put test, context variable, contact ID cannot have a default value. So it won't allow for linked variables. Or in case of if I have a normal customer type, I put the same text and try to save, there won't be any error because this is a mutable. So mutable in the sense it's updatable, simpler. Linked in the sense read only. So those variables values are already present in the messaging session object. From the messaging session, we are referencing those values. Or in case of these or custom created variables which can be used in multiple places, and we can set a value to these variables. So if you want to create a variable, any of the type, you can just we can copy paste and you can try it again. Test variable string testing. I don't need this visibility and description here, so just remove it. So this is how you can create a variable. So variable name colon, what is the type, whether it's a mutable or linked. So if it is a custom, it's going to be a, and it's not related to the messaging session, it's going to be a mutable. And what is the data, whether it's a string, boolean, or a number. So that is the type, and after that, if you want to redefine any value, you can put equals to and enter the value. And the main important thing, you don't need to provide the semicolon. So coming to language block now. So the language block is the key part. So if I want to have specific languages, I want the agent to run on a specific language, ELGB. Now it's running on US language, English. So all additional local is false. if I want to run any other languages, then you can select some other language here and you can put. So I can put it in a comma separated value like that. You can provide the languages and you can save it. So it's showing something invalid default locally. So the reason is I didn't enable this under the language settings. So that's why it's throwing error. So if you want to add any other language, you can put a command, you can add another default locally and additional. So those will be supported. So this is for languages. So that based on the user conversation, the agent will also reply in that specific language context. So for example, if I type in instead of English some other language, whether in a Spanish or in case of a Chinese language, then that should the conversation reply should be in that language. Then we need to enable this locally. Then only it will show the conversation in the specific language which we requested. So that's for language connection block. So for now we don't have a connection here. Let me create a connection block. So if you want to add a connection, you need to click on connections plus icon and it will show next chat v2 and to agent. Yes. Now we got connection agent. So this voice setting location it's not related now. Now we got the connection agent. So under connections, we have customer web client. So where we have allowed adaptive response allowed at true. So connections or something like which whether it's going to be connected with the web application, whether it's going to connect with the Slack application. So based on the application need and the type of agent which we selected, it will list down the connections present for that agent. So this is connection block to describe how this agent interacts with the outside connections. So this is for connection block. So basically it's used to connect with the outside blocks, like whether it's going to be interact with the website or whether it's going to connect with the Slack. So based on the connection, it will be determined. Sub-agent blocks. Sub-agent blocks to specify the instructions, logic, and actions for a sub-agent. A sub-agent block contains a description, list of actions, and reasoning instructions. So sub-agent, if we take, I need to take this as a separate session. So for this, for high-level understanding, let me walk through the remaining part in an easier way. So agent router. So agent router is the key places. So if you go to the go to the top of the diagram. So agent router is a separate module. Even if it is mentioned as a start agent, agent router. So the key thing, everything comes under sub agent. You can see under sub agents only agent router also present. But if you go to the modules, start agent is a different place block present. So the start agent is the agent router. So the start agent block. So as already mentioned, the start agent is different from other sub agents. So it's not a sub agent. So you can see start agent, agent router. But if you see in the right left side, you can see under sub agents the agent router might be present, but it's different. So start agent block is so one of the mandatory blocks that needs to be present for an agent script. Go here, sub agent block, start agent. So with every customer interacts, the agent begins execution of this block. The start agent, sub-agent is used to initiate conversation and typically determines when to switch the agents or the sub-agents. This block handles sub-agent classification, filtering, and routing. So if we go to the start agent, we will have a description, reasoning, under reasoning, instruction, and actions. So the same, if we go to the agent builder, start agent, agent router, under label description, and model config. So I'll explain model config later. So reasoning, under reason, instruction, and actions. So when I type a message, so I need to raise a case escalation. So it will straight away come to this start agent, agent router. So here we have multiple subagents. So under the subagents, which was my correct subagent, which subagent satisfies my condition, and which will create a escalation case. It will first go through all the subagent actions, and then it will navigate to the correct subagent. So that in the backend, reasoning engine is running, and it will determine all the actions, and under that it will select the best subagent, and it will navigate to that subagent to perform the action. So that's how the agent router works. So it's basically for navigating to the right subagent and performing the actions, and for filtering. So subagent classification, filtering, and routing. So those are the main things which is this block handles. So let us go to the close this. I'm coming to the subagent block. So subagent, as the name indicates. So I have an agent. Under that agent, I have a subagent. So this subagent will have a purpose. For example, this service customer verification. The purpose of this subagent is to verify the service customer. So whether the customer is a valid person or not. So under this subagent, we will have label, description, reason. Under that, we have instructions and actions. After that, we have the subagent actions. So this entire functionality, how this action runs, why we have two actions, what is this reasoning actions, and what is the subagent actions, I will later explain in a separate video, because it's, if we start explaining, it will take a lot, huge time. Everything I don't want to be combined. So in a simpler way, what we can call a subagent is a single purpose agent under a main agent. For example, I have a case creation, I have a order creation, opportunity creation, account creation. I don't want to create everything under a single subagent. So a subagent should have a single purpose in case of a single responsibility principle. So consider that one. So a single purpose should be provided to a single subagent. So the purpose of this subagent is to verify the customer. So that's what it's doing. So it's going in the subagent, I have certain instructions. Under the instructions, I will get the customer verification code, and I will verify with the email, and just confirm whether the customer is a valid one or not. And I will set certain output values from the action. You can see, use the subagent block to specify the instruction, logic, and actions for a subagent. And a subagent block contains a description list of actions. So basically, a subagent will have a single purpose. That purpose it will do inside the subagent, and it will, if you want to run an action and set certain attributes that should be used for other 8 subagents, then you can, and the action and you can have an output, and that output variables can be referenced in other subagents. So these are the high level details. So in upcoming videos, I will explain detailedly about the subagent block inside, how the reasoning, instruction, actions, and subagent actions, how it will run, and what are the other things that we need to consider for this agent routing, how the routing is takes place, what is the model config, all those things in detail. So thank you.